Good morning, everyone. This is Jack Gershfeld from Altinex, and today I'm going to talk about video generator, video analyzer, and cable tester, the new product that we just introduced. If you're online, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. There's a little button on the bottom of your screen, and if you need to type some questions, just go ahead and type the questions. I have somebody online that will answer the questions. And if there's any other questions, just you can always email it to us at orders@altinex.com. Today we're going to be introducing a new generator. It's TE460-137. It combines both the generator, the analyzer, and cable tester. So a little bit about myself. I've been in the industry for many years. Back to 1980, I designed hundreds of products. As a company, we received Manufacturer of the Year award. We also introduced many new products to the industry, and we were the first to ever design tabletop AV solutions. There was none of them before we started. We also were the first one to introduce wall-mounted AV solutions. We were also first to introduce multitasking universal AV system to the world, and we were also first to introduce home-run flexible matrix switcher to the world. So we got lots of accomplishments behind us. Altinex been in business since 1993. And we manufacture audio-visual products. And our slogan is easy to use, easy to install, easy to maintain. If you got an idea, we got the solution. Today I'm going to be talking specifically about the video generator and answer one simple question. Why am I even doing it? Well, this is why I'm doing it. It's about the next generation. It's about my family. It's about my kids, about my grandkids, and building the next generation of young people who will move the industry forward. That's what I do this for. That's why I get up every morning and I go to work and I manage the company and I design new products and I think about the future. The reason for this generator is very simple. What we wanted to do is to come up with the way for all of you to be able to certify and provide objective evidence of an AV system performance. Up to date, it's kind of difficult to do it. You connect the signals, you look at the flashes on HDMI signal, and you're trying to figure out what doesn't work, what does work. Well, the new TE460-137 will answer all of your questions. It can analyze the signal. It can detect the problem in the signal. It can tell you what doesn't work. It will generate the signal. It will test the cables. Pretty much this is going to do everything that you want to do, and it will give you visual representation of the problem. So you can, and when you finish your job and you want to certify your installation, you can use this device to certify your installation and say, this installation complies with all the applicable standards. For example, if you're installing a system that has HDCP 1.4 and you want to make sure it complies with it, you will plug this unit in and it will tell you whether it's compliant to HDCP 1.4. If you're moving up to HDCP 2.2 or HDMI 2.0, then this will give you information and tell you whether you're compliant or not. It will also verify many other things. So let's go ahead and start going over some of the features, and then we'll do a live demonstration. I have a little video here, which you will be able to go through and to show different parts of the unit. So a couple of things on the standards. It does cover all the way to HDMI 2.0A. It will also understand HDCP 1.4 and 2.2. It complies with CEA standards for video analysis, and it will also analyze CEA 861F, which is all the metadata that is sent to the HDMI stream. And it also has a full EDIT analysis. That means you can read EDIT from the monitor, you can write EDIT to the device, you can also analyze the EDIT and see what is the monitor supposed to do and what type of resolutions can it handle. And you can also simulate EDIT. That means you can read EDIT from the monitor and then connect to the laptop and see what the laptop will do with this EDIT. So some of the applications that we are kind of targeting with this device is simulate HDMI source and sync and test it. So you can test the laptop and see what's coming out. If you want to know if the laptop is producing encrypted signal on HTTP, that will tell you. If you want to know what resolution laptop is producing, it will tell you also. You can also test the monitor, we call it display. It will also look at the video signal and it will find errors. If your signal is intermittent, if it loses bits, it will tell you that something's happening with the signal. It will allow you to measure the equipment compatibility, what the one equipment produces and what one equipment is looking for. So, for example, if you're trying to send a signal to the video conference and you find out that video conference doesn't work, well, you can easily check whether the signal you're trying to send is encrypted and video conference blanks it out, or what's happening when you're making a connection. You can also read digit, write digit, and save digit for future use. You have 10 memory locations, so you can have up to 10 different monitors saved in the unit, and then you can get into your office and you can simulate customer's monitor on your devices. It also verifies the high definition content protection 1.4 and 2.2 compliance verification, so you know that your system is fully compliant. And it also can do end-to-end system testing. That means from the time the signal enters your system to the time it exits next to the projector, you can test the full chain of the signal that goes to different switchers and distribution amplifiers. Some of the features of the generator, it may be small, but it's powerful. We have 18 gigabits or 600 megahertz per channel, 4K, ultra high definition support. You can also switch it to DVI mode. If you ever work with military and you need to test the DVI signal, that has a full DVI 1.0 compliance. And what you will need is just a hardware little adapter that connects, physically converts HDMI connector to DVI adapter. We haven't seen many applications, but when we work with military, we see that coming up quite a bit. It's full HTTP 1.4 and 2.2 compliant. It supports high definition resolutions up to 4096 by 2160 at 60 hertz and 4448 bits signal. That means full resolution, full color depth, everything is in this signal. And you can also bypass in analyzer mode. That means you can put the signal in, it will go through the analyzer, come out, and just analyze the signal. So as we're moving forward, let's see if we can kind of go back. Let's see on the features. HDMI 2.0 cable test. So when you plug the HDMI 2.0, we'll test all the connections, make sure that the network is working, CEC is working, hot plug detector is working, 5 volts is working. All of this will be tested. We also check the audio, all the format of the audio, 2.0, 5.1, 7.1. Audio output with adjustable sine wave frequencies for each channel. So we can apply different channels with different frequencies, and therefore you can separate the channels. If you need to see if you connected your right and left channel properly, that will allow you to do it because we can send different frequencies to each of the channels. And we have a full EDIT management system there with 10 built-in default EDITs and 10 user EDIT copied from sync devices. That means we have a pre-built 10 EDITs that we think it's most common in the industry that you can use right away, or you can just read the display and copy the display and then later on connect to your laptop and check if that will work. If you don't have laptop immediately, you can read the display EDIT and then switch to the generator mode and output the signal with that EDIT that you just read. So let's see how we're going to use this, and let's take a look. I'm going to move up this video a little here so we can look at it together. So what you have a case, and it comes in the case right here. It's a full waterproof case. You also have a charger, which comes with it. That will charge it, and the typical charge is about 4 hours of full operation. You also have the charging cable. The charging cable is a small USB to micro USB connection, which is right here, micro USB connection. And you also have a little test cable, HDMI test cable. You need it as a reference, and therefore we can use it to check that the unit is working properly. So this is what we call calibration cable. And finally, you have the unit here. On the unit, you have a power on off switch right here. You have a USB charging port, and you can control it both ways. You can connect the connector and charge it here, or this can also be used to control the unit through RS-232 port. And there's additional features available when you control it through RS-232 port. You have HDMI output and you have HDMI input. So that's your port. On the back side, you have a user guide to give you a quick reference how to use it. On the front side, it gives you resolutions available for this unit. And inside there's a battery. We don't recommend removing the battery, but if you have to, just use a little clip and push it here. And inside you'll see there's a battery. Lithium-ion battery that comes with it. And then when you come back, you just close it. And that's it. So here's the unit. Let's go ahead and power it up. When you power it up, you will see that it displays Altinex logo. And then once it's finished with logo, it will display analyzer. You have a little button called task or mode. When you press it, it switches from analyzer. And you give it a second to a pattern. Right now, it says pattern. Therefore, it's a generator right now. And then when you click again, it will switch to the next mode, which is called cable tester. Cable T, that's a cable tester. So just by using this button, task mode, you can switch between different operational modes. So let's see how we can use this unit. So the simplest way to do is to use what we call inline signal analysis. That means you take your laptop, you put it into the generator, and then you output it to your audiovisual system. The generator itself will be in the bypass mode, but the only thing it will do, it will analyze the signal. That means it will take whatever signal comes in, and it will output on the other end the same signal. It will learn about the EDIT, it will learn about HDCP, it will learn about audio, it will also learn about resolutions that's coming out of the laptop. So that's the easiest way to determine what's coming into your system. The other way is, of course, to put on the output. So once you know what's coming on the input, then you can put the system, your analyzer on the output and do the same thing and measure what's coming in the output. And basically, if you're HDCP 2.2, you should have both of them coming on the input and the output. If you have 2K or 4K coming out from your laptop, you may decide maybe there's a scaler that converts it down to 1080p. Maybe there's changing in color depth. So all of this you'll be able to see on the analyzer. The other way to do it is just to check the source signal. So you want to know what laptop puts out. It's because when you go to the laptop and you go to the resolution panel just to see what's coming out, it's not exactly what really comes out. It will give you the resolution, but it's not going to give you the actual performance of the output, because sometimes manufacturers will output the same resolution video signal, but will fit different resolution of the screen into that resolution. So you may think that you're at 720p, but the actual output can be 1080p coming out, but 720 number of pixels displayed is 720. So that gives you a very clear indication what's coming out from the laptop. So next thing you can do, you connect it directly to a monitor. And you can generate the signal and verify that monitor is working at specific resolution that you want. You also can read EDIT. You can simulate output signal. Once you read EDIT, you can plug it back to a laptop, and the laptop will think that this generator is your display. The next thing you can do is a full audio-visual system test. And, we can kind of look at two different ways. If you have input and output that are far away from each other, then there's a different way of testing it. But let's assume that you can get to both inputs and outputs and you can connect them to the generator. That could be if you're in the rack. Before you get to the transmitter and receiver, you can be in the rack and you just want to check that the system works in the rack. So you would just take a small 3-foot cables, connect input to output. So this would become a generator that generates the signal that will pass through audio-visual system, go back into the unit, and we can analyze it. So we can do both, generating the signal and analyzing the signal at the same time. If you have a situation where both of your sources and displays are far away, so in this case, you would need two generators. One generator is to send the signal through the system, known signal, calibrated signal through the system, and the other one is to analyze on the other end. Okay, so in this case, you can test a complete system just with two units. I find that most of the time one unit is enough, and if there's some kind of issues with the HDMI signal, you can pretty much figure out where the issue is with one generator, because you can always insert it in the past, anywhere in a system in the past, you can insert it and see what the signal performance is and if there's any dropout. So if you insert the analyzer before the, let's say, HD-based transmitter, then the signal looks good, then you know that something's happening on the HD-based transmitter. Or you can put right to the monitor and you can see if there's a dropout, if there's a signal degradation. So now that you can test the whole system, sometimes you need to go down and test individual components. And the biggest culprit of everything is always cables. Cables are the ones that pretty much define how the system is going to work. There are some active cables, there are some passive cables, there's fiber optics cables. All of these can be tested with this generator. So you would plug the cable right in between. So in this case, if I want to test the cable, I would plug one end of the cable here, the other end of the cable here, and that would be two cables. So this one, I'm in the calibration mode, or basically using calibration cable, but you can use any other cable. And you can see, so if you can see it here, it says run test. It's that simple. You just run the test. And it takes about 2 minutes to run the test, depending on the cable, because it has to go through the hot plugs, it has to go through the DDC bus, CEC bus, and once it starts, you can see it says pass, 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 pass. Okay. And now what it does, it's testing right here 4K 6 gig AV signal. Okay, so once it starts testing, it takes about 18 seconds to 20 seconds to test this, but the rest of it passed. So now that you know that your cable passed, you can plug any other cable here, and you will see if it's passed the signal. So that's how easy it is. Just plug it in, push the button, let it run, and at the end you have objective evidence that your cables have passed the signal. So the resolution on this generator, you can go down to 720 by 480 if you ever need this. I haven't seen any need recently for such a low resolution, but in some cases, if you do need it, you can go that low. And you can go all the way to 4096 by 2160. So you have a full spectrum from 720p up all the way to 4K, 60 hertz. And that should cover everything for the foreseeable future with this little generator. Sometimes you get a situation where you want to have a RS-232 port. In this particular case, and this one's still running the test, so you can see that we are still a few seconds away from completing the test, because 4 gig test or 4K text, it takes a little time to finish, usually 2 minutes. And the reason it takes a little time to finish, because the generator sends lots of different pockets with different type of signal, and we need to make sure that all of the pockets will get through. Okay, once they get through, then we know the cable is fully, because we want to know what the loss rate. Many cables will lose the signal. Now you can see this particular cable, it's passed. That means it's run 2 minutes. With 2 minutes sending all the different packets, we did not receive one damaged packet of signal, and therefore it's passed. If the cable has dropouts, you will see dropouts right here, and you will see if the cable is marginal, you will know that the cable is marginal. So that's how this works. Right here, you have a USB port, but you can switch this port to RS-232 port. And with a little adapter that goes USB to RS-232, you can hook up to your computer, and you can issue RS-232 commands. So if you want to get a little bit automated testing on your system, or if you want to print a report of system passing and failing, then you can do it through RS-232 port. When you order the unit, you're going to get a charger, charging cable, test cable, 1 unit, and a carrying case sealed with a little lock if you want to put the lock on it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We have personal lines who can answer your questions. Also, feel free to call us. And just for whatever it's worth, if you ever want to place an order, we now have a text line, and you can place your orders using text, SMS messages. Take a picture of what you need, put a little text and send it to us, and we'll accept it as an order. That helps you instead of going to the email or faxing things to us. And with this in mind, we're right on time. We spent about 21 minutes together. And if you have any questions, feel free to just raise your hand and post the question. Otherwise, it was great to have you here, and thank you for listening and to my speech, and also for listening to my sales pitch. Until next time, thank you.